This is KHEA Radio. It's Clear Life Combat. My name is Gardy. I have a guest that's zooming in. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we're going to find out where he's at and what he has going on. Hey, how you doing?
How's it going?
Okay. If somebody hasn't met you yet, what's your name and where you train out of?
Um, my name is Kody Steele. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, going over to MMA, and I train out of Austin, Texas.
All right. So Austin, Texas, right now is widely known as the jiu-jitsu capital of the world, and a big part of that is your team and what y'all are doing. Did y'all see this coming?
No, I didn't. We didn't really see that coming. Honestly, we just we were like in a little small gym, and just me and a couple of my boys, and we just were just competing all over the world. But now, with COVID and everything, all the jujitsu guys are moving here now. So it's like a jujitsu hub in Texas, here in Austin. It's crazy.
Yeah. And this transition to MMA, what sparked this? Is this something you've always wanted to do, or is this something that just came up recently?
Yeah, I've always had the intentions of going into MMA. Jiu-jitsu just kind of started taking off for me. Thankfully, it was pretty cool, but it just started taking off for me. And then I did like I wanted to fight as like a white belt. Like I was a white belt, I was ready to go into MMA, but my professor was like, "No, let's wait till at least you're a purple belt." And then I waited till I was a purple belt, but then I just felt like my jujitsu was growing a lot and I was learning a lot. And then I started kind of making a little name for myself through jujitsu. So I was like, let me just run through this and just see where this goes.
Yeah. So Fury 56 is taking place in San Antonio, Texas this weekend, and this is going to be your professional debut. I mean, leading up to this event this weekend, how are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel calm and I feel like I know exactly what I'm going to do. And, I feel good. There's nothing, I don't even feel like I'm fighting this weekend. So I'm just confident.
Yeah. And that's going to be, do you know anything about your opponent?
Not a whole lot. I know he's got a pretty good record on him. He's a southpaw, but besides that, I don't think he really has any. He's like a specialist in anything. I think he's just a really tough fighter. He fights on his feet, fights on the ground, fights against the cage. So anywhere and everywhere we go, he's gonna have something for me. So
Yeah. So those amateur fights that you had, did they go the way that you expected, and what were the outcomes of those?
yeah, I finished both of my fights. It was good. My first fight, I found myself like hunting a lot. Like I was really trying to look for the knockout, and I was just hunting and making a lot of mistakes and stuff. But I was able to get a knockout in that fight in the third round, which I kind of was like predicting I was going to happen because I wanted to get comfortable in the cage and just feel it. My second amateur fight, I just felt like I upgraded big time from my last fight and stuff. So like I plan on going 4 rounds in that fight, but instead I ended up just like catching them. But I just felt a lot better and I was a little bit more aware. It felt like a sparring session out there for me. So yeah, I mean, I did that and knocked him out, and then now I just was deciding like I don't really want to waste too much time here at amateur. I just want to go fight in the bigger leagues. I've done like smokers and I've done like striking tournaments and I've competed like a ton in wrestling and a ton of in jujitsu. So I just want to, just go.
Yeah. How much has competing in wrestling and jiu-jitsu prepared you for MMA?
I think a lot, like I feel like wrestling, I've gotten in those reps and I've lost a lot, like, coming up through wrestling, I remember losing a ton. And then jujitsu, same thing, I've been able to like kind of run through the ranks and try to like work my way up through rankings. And then fighting under like big lights, like I fought on like, I feel like I fought on just about every jujitsu promotion there is. And the lights and the camera and the crowd, like, it really doesn't affect me or anything like that. If anything, I feel like it makes me way more sharp, way more ready to compete and perform and put shows on. So I don't think it's going to be much different for me.
You know what do you have to prove in this fight specifically as your debut? And has there been naysayers or people that have doubted this transition?
Not too much. Some people might have said to me like they think I'm going pro too fast, but like honestly, they're just some of the people that have told me that are just guys who don't really know what they're talking about. So I just listen to my coaches and stuff like that, and my friends and my family and people who see me train and things. But I'm just, yeah, I'm ready to get after it and just make a statement this weekend and have fun with it.
How much do you train? I follow you on social media, and it looks like, I mean, there's a lot. It even looks like maybe where you live is transitioned into a training facility.
Yeah, I train. I pretty much train every day. I have certain days where I push out of the week, and then I have certain days where it's like a more chill day for me, where I'm just focusing a lot of drilling. But for the most part, yeah, I'm training. I mean, I've turned my house into like a dojo. You know, we have like bags and weight equipment. We have like a full like workout system thing in the garage, and then we have inside like this like loft area. It's like we got mats and wall mats, and so it's every day.
Yeah. Does the house, does it have a gym name or a name that it's known as?
Yeah, we call it Pumpkin's Dojo. I have a cat. She's really chunky, but she's really cool, and she's like our little mascot. So it's like Pumpkin's Dojo, Pumpkin's Palace. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, okay, the name Pumpkin. I was like, that sounds like a pet. That's a cat. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. And at the house, is there roommates there that train with you, or teammates that come over just want extra training?
Yeah. So I have my boy, he's Keaton. He trains. He's my roommate. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And then I also have my buddy Caleb. We call him Sausage, but like he lives with us too, and he's also a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So we all train together. We train all the time, and then I'm like 5 minutes from like my gym where I train at. So I'll have some guys come through and like they'll hold mitts, or we get some jiu-jitsu rounds in, or we like focus on some type of drills and things like that. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
okay, so outside of training and combat sports, growing up, were there any traditional sports that you played, and is there anything that you try and do now, I guess, to relax or change pace for a little bit?
Um, I used to play baseball and football back in the day, like when I was in like elementary, middle school, high school, and stuff. Um, I always really loved playing football, but it was more of a hobby for me because I realized I was not going to go to the NFL or anything like that. So I was like, that's no cool. That's not cool. But as of like things outside of training, I don't know. I'm trying to find more hobbies and do more things, but as of now, it's like a lot of studying, watching fights, and drilling and things like that. If I ever have time just to chill, it's like the UFC has like fight nights like every weekend now. So it's like we just grill out at the house, watch fights, and then I'm passing out and getting ready for the week to train again.
Yeah, and Austin's a pretty cool place to live, and I think that's a part of why so many practitioners are moving there. It's a how do you feel, and do you enjoy living in Austin?
Yeah, it's really cool living here in Austin. Like if I like want to go out on the weekend and hang out with my friends, like I always know Austin's like popping off downtown, and there's always fun stuff to do. Um, and there's like lakes. There's like a bunch of like they have like Labor Lake and like really cool parks here. I'm trying to get myself to go out more and do more things outside of training and just go out and chill. But yeah, I don't use Austin to the fullest, but I'm trying to be better this year and a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Okay, so again, if you are just now tuning in, Kody Steele is going to be making his professional debut this weekend for Fury Fighting Championship. How would you describe your style? And, with you getting the two finishes, what are some things that you're excited to be able to show in that fight this weekend?
Um, I don't really know my style yet. I know I really enjoy stand up and throwing hands and testing myself there. But I feel like I'm better on the wall and I'm better on the ground. And I have like a good submission arsenal under me that I'm very confident I can use if I need it. Um, but I just want to be able to fight everywhere. And I feel like I'm comfortable on my feet. I'm comfortable on the ground, comfortable enough on the cage. And I want to be able to be a smart fighter, have a good IQ out there, and be able to adjust every round and push the pace on people and put on honestly just really exciting, entertaining fights.
Yeah, so I had to bring up Level Black in that collaboration that y'all did with the Wrestle Jitsu. Is that something that you had kind of, I guess, coined or wanted to make known?
Yeah. Um, Yeah, like what Level Black's like my sponsor, and they help me out. He helps me out so much, and he's a really good dude, man. And yeah, like through my jujitsu career, I use a lot of my wrestling, and I mix up a lot of like my submissions with it. But yeah, I just always I bring a big high pace in jujitsu, and in jujitsu, I feel like most people know me just to put on like really good, entertaining, fun fights to watch through there, you know.
Hmm.
So
With jujitsu, what other goals do you want to accomplish in your career? And then I guess the same for MMA.
um, jujitsu, I would love to go to the ADCs. That's like where the top grapplers go. It's like the Olympics of our sport, and that's where I'm trying to. That's where I see myself going. Hopefully this year, and being able to win that. And then for MMA, uh, I'm just looking to collect some belts and get some titles and make a name for myself out there. You know, I want to show the world, you know, how entertaining I can be in my style.
Yeah. And so for the rest of this year, how many more times do you want to try and get some fights in?
I want to be as active as possible this year. For me, this year is about getting that experience in the cage, getting some fights in under me, and just getting better in training and being consistent this year. You know, I would love to get like 4 fights in this year, maybe 5, but you know, if I can keep my body healthy and be smart and everything, then that, you know, that's the goal. I'd really like to get that many fights in, and then next year set myself up big for next year.
I saw on on an Instagram story that you put up there was something about the Nelk boys and them not coming to see you this weekend. What's going on there?
Yeah, so man, it's funny. Like me and my buddy, me and Keaton, we watch, or me and my roommates, we watch like Steele do it, the Nelk Boys, and stuff like that. And we're like, and then we saw like Sugar Sean like hanging out with these guys, and I was like, man, I was like, I feel like they would totally dig that. I was like, we were chilling with them. They're like, man, these guys are cool, you know. And so like we'd always talk about. I was like, all right, like I'm gonna murk some guys. I'm gonna get to the UFC. I'm gonna somehow the stars are gonna line up where we cross our paths, and we're gonna be boys, and it's just gonna be chill, and it's gonna be awesome. Um, and then one day, my roommate Keaton, he was like, dude, he's like, I was just listening to this podcast. He said, you gotta listen to it. And it's from the Nelk Boys, and the Nelk and Kyle was on there. He was talking like, yeah, so he's like, this next year we're going to like Dana White looking for a fight. You know, we're going to look to get um, we want to sponsor like a fighter and get behind them and just like ride on them. And like, but we want a good guy to like ride on and someone with like potential and things like that. And man, when we heard that, he was like telling me about it. We were listening to it. I was like getting like goosebumps. I was like, dude, I was like, we already talked about this, and now it's like coming into existence, you know? And so yeah, so it's kind of like it came up, and then I was like, okay, well, I think I'm like scheduled to fight in Nashville for Dana White, looking for a fight in April. So I was like, that's when it's gonna happen. Like that's it. And then I caught wind that they're going to Kansas and on this weekend. So I was like, what the? Yeah, I was like, dang. And then I was like, I gotta swindle this. I gotta do something. And so yeah, so now I'm trying to get their attention and bring that over here, you know, because I mean, once they see me fight, I'm pretty sure that's like, yeah, that's the guy we're looking for.
I think it'd be a great collaboration. You know, even do you think that like the Pumpkin Dojo, you know, your house, the training, you and your buddies, would it make a good reality show?
I think so. You know, I mean, we're gonna start a YouTube channel this year. We have like a camera guy now, and he's gonna help us with the YouTube, and he's like over at our house filming us like 3 times a week, even more if we need it. And he edits our videos now and things like that. So like we're just, you know, we're gonna work hard, be consistent, and you know, I think the stars will align on one day, and it's gonna just happen, and the opportunity is gonna be here, and we're just gonna send these dingers out the park, you know. But um, yeah, we're gonna try to mix it up this year.
I think stuff like that just helps grow the sport because it's
Mm-hmm.
entertaining in a point. You know, if their main thing is like, I don't want to watch MMA, hey, if they build that connection with someone, so I love it. The more good content, and you put out a ton of great content, you and your guys at the gym as well, so that'll just only get more eyes there. as well.
For sure. Yeah. Like we're gonna do a lot of stuff. It'll be from like, dieting to training to working out to us, going downtown in Austin, checking places out where we like to go, what we like to do. The things are endless in that department. So we're gonna try to make moves on that this year and show and kind of spread the word about jujitsu and everything.
So this weekend, Kody Steele's making his professional debut at Fury Fighting Championship 56 in San Antonio. Can you share your experience fighting for Fury? Has it been good for you? And anything you'd like to share about them?
And Eric puts on a really good show. He's like got it down now. Like he gets fights. He knows how to set up the stage. He's got the lights. He got the cameras. He's the next like big promotion. Like there's other promotions. Like LFA and all these other ones. But like I believe like his promotion is doing this, and I feel like I'm catching that wave right now. And so I want to help him, and I want to put on good fights and bring some attention to him because he deserves it.
And you also had the opportunity to go and represent Fury Fighting Championship at the UFC Apex. From what I understand, it was the first time that jiu-jitsu or grappling competition has been in the Apex. What was that experience like?
It was good. It was really fun. It was tough. There's some tough competitors in there, but yeah, that was a really cool. I felt like the coolest thing about it was I got to go into the UFC Apex and like compete in there, and I just felt like like I said, all the stars are slowly going to line up, and I'm just already getting into the Apex, getting used to what's around, and so when I first get there, it's not going to be anything too new to me. It's just going to be like, all right, here we go. I'm just building myself to those moments.
Earlier, you had mentioned almost like visualizing and talking and speaking things into existence, even was about the Nelk Boys. Is that something you're a big, I guess, proponent of, writing stuff down or visualizing it first and seeing it come to pass?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I've been doing a lot this past like 2 years. Is like journaling my thoughts and speaking and talking and like I feel like almost sometimes I'm a broken record. I'm talking to my roommates and I'm just like I tell them what I'm gonna do. Like when I go to trials, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna do this. When I do my fight, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna calf kick them, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna send an overhand. Like I talk about it so much, and then I visualize it so much, and then I drill it so much where like when I'm in the cage or I'm competing, it's like I've already been there before, and and I think it is like a big thing. I just talk about it, I work towards it, and it's gonna come true.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now I get to talk to a lot of really interesting people, and that's just one of the reoccurring themes that I've seen is they just write these things down, talk about it, envision it. If somebody did see like your goal list, do you think that people would be like, "Hey, you don't need to be so out there," like, or that's crazy?
um I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like, I think one of the things is most people don't really actually believe it. They don't
Yeah.
believe in themselves, and that's one thing. Like through competing through jujitsu, I was like, I mean, it's really hard. Like I never really believed in myself totally. Like it's hard to see yourself when you're lined up against someone that you've like looked up to, and then you're competing against them, and you're like, dang, how am I supposed to beat this guy? But now it's like I really believe in my hard work, and that's what gives me my confidence. Is I know that I work hard, and whatever's going to happen on a competition day is going to happen. But I know I literally did everything I could through diet, mental parts of the game, and training, and jujitsu, and drilling, and all that. Like I can't be more prepared for the moments that I set myself up with.
Is there something specifically that led to that switch from whenever you started jujitsu and saying like, "Hey, no, I really am believing this stuff now," or is it just seeing the hard work that you put in?
Yeah, it's weird because I would win some things and I would just think I was like lucky. I was like, oh, I just got lucky. Like like it wasn't anything like that. Like I would win like when I won combat jujitsu, I was like, oh, I just got lucky. I got lucky. But at the end of the day, when I look back, it's like no, like I put a lot of work in. I wake up early. I do my strength and conditioning. I do my drills. I do a lot. And sometimes when I ask people what they do, they'll be training and I'm like, what's your training schedule? Like, oh, I train in the morning, jujitsu, and then I train at night, jujitsu. And I was like, okay, well, it's like I do that too, and
Yeah.
then, but I do more off the mat. So, like, how are you going to beat me on the mat if you're not even beating me off the mat? A lot more goes into it, I feel like.
Okay. Earlier, you were mentioning a little bit about diet. You just kind of what actually goes into your diet? What do you walk around at, and how familiar and easy or hard is it to cut weight for you?
Um, my body, like, it's pretty good at dropping weight. I used to lift a lot of heavy weight, like I'd get under a big barbell, but that just honestly just puts a lot of mass on me. So I do different type of workouts and things like that. Diet, I've been like eating a lot of steaks, but now I kind of have like a nutritionist, so my meals are a lot different. Um, my weight, I walk around normally at like 180, 178. But now with this nutritionist, she's got me walking a little bit smaller, and it's just going to prepare me for when I cut down to 155.
Okay. Whenever it comes to like your roommates, is everybody kind of in on the diet or like supporting at least, or does it make it more difficult if someone's not watching their diet as closely?
My buddy, my roommate Keaton, he's always with me. Like, that guy's with me all the time, 24/7. He holds mitts for me. He drills with me. He like helps me a lot. He eats with me. Like, we eat the same, but he'll just eat more. Like, I'll have like a
Yeah.
certain type of proportion, and then he'll have like probably triple that. And then my other roommate, Caleb, he kind of eats. He'll sometimes eat with us, but he'll kind of eat his own thing. He's like Pete Terry's like every day. It's insane. But he is, yeah, it's nuts.
Is your nutritionist local? Or is there somebody else that you're working with somewhere else?
I believe she lives in Vegas. I think she works like at the PI UFC PI.
That's awesome. Um, Whenever it comes to people that you look up to, whether that's in jiu-jitsu or MMA, who are some of those names that you've, I guess, even looked to for advice or just watched their instructionals or modeled your game after?
Um, Man, it's so hard. There's so many guys. Uh, I mean, like jujitsu wise, I've watched a lot of jujitsu guys. Kind of like I've taken like a little bit of piece of some guys. Like I watch a lot of JT Torres, Gary Tonin, um, Hanato Kanuto, those guys. And like MMA, I kind of watch just like a variety of people. But like someone I go to for advice and someone that I look up to is like my professor, Rodrigo. He's been with me since I've been a white belt. He's kind of brought me up. He's like my dad, and he just gives me really good advice all the time. He's been, yeah. If I didn't have that guy, I would definitely wouldn't be where I'm sitting now.
Yes. How about any other crossovers? From jiu-jitsu to MMA, is there anything else you'd like to experience in the future or compete in?
Um, as of now, not too much. I just got my eyes set on just oh my god, and I just got my eyes set on just getting these wins and moving on and seeing what the future holds. Maybe the UFC, maybe something that's gonna pay and be able to put me on a good platform so I can show everybody what I've been working hard for.
Awesome. Okay, I got one final question. If somebody hasn't watched you fight before, why do they need to either subscribe or tune into UFC Fight Pass this weekend, Sunday, to watch you compete for Fury Fighting Championship? And what will they see? What can they expect?
Oh man, just honestly, just fireworks, great technique, smart fighting, and explosive fighting. And if people like to watch finishes, then they need to watch me fight because I'm definitely finishing this guy this weekend, 100%.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to share today?
I think I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you. This is Clear Life Combat on